Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're embarking on a truly creative journey. Today, we're explaining the chapter Harmony in Motion, unpacking the totally fascinating world of India's traditional dance. We're going to look at the whole process, literally everything from the initial cultural concepts all the way to the final curtain call. We'll uncover exactly how these incredible performances come together, piece by piece, on the stage.
Okay, let's dive into this. When we read this quote from the text, it's super important to understand that these traditional dances are so much more than just a sequence of physical movements. They're these deep, profound expressions of stories, of raw emotions, and of a really rich spirituality. Every single step, every gesture carries the weight of a diverse cultural heritage that's been passed down through generations.
So, that brings us to a really compelling question. When you sit in the audience and watch a flawless performance, it feels like absolute magic. But what does it actually take to transform a simple cultural story into that mesmerizing stage production? Well, for the rest of this explainer, I want you to shift your perspective. You're no longer just a passive audience member. You're stepping into the shoes of a creative director. We're going on a maker's journey to build a show from the ground up. To build our show, we first need to understand our foundation. In India, traditional dance generally falls into two beautifully distinct categories. You have Shastriya Nritya, which is classical dance, and Loka Nritya, which refers to folk dance. The chapter highlights how this amazing variety spreads what they call a unique cultural fragrance. And these aren't just art forms, right? They actively uplift our nation and reinforce societal and moral integrity by bringing communities together under shared cultural beliefs.
And this brilliantly illustrates the incredible diversity across regions. For instance, you have the Siddhi Damal dancers from Gujarat, and their performance is powered by these massive, booming, big drums. Now contrast that with the vibrant Bihu dance of Assam, featuring beautiful traditional headgear. Bihu performances famously use an instrument called the dole, alongside a very unique wind instrument made from a buffalo horn, known as a pipa. It's this sheer variety in regional instruments and props that gives each dance its distinct soul.
Part 1. The workshop. Costumes, props, and instruments.
Now that we have our cultural foundation locked in, let's transition into the practical phase. Imagine actually being in the workshop with your fellow performers, rolling up your sleeves, and creating your own props. And hey, you don't need a massive budget to create stunning visuals. The text encourages us to use everyday materials. We're talking cardboard, colored paper, fabrics, and decorative ribbons to craft elaborate dance jewelry. Whether you're making a golden necklace, an intricate headdress, a powerful Hanuman face mask, or a queen's crown, the real magic lies in your creativity and craftsmanship.
Moving right along to Part 2, the rehearsal, mastering the stage space.
Once our props and costumes are built, we move out of the workshop and onto the stage itself. But before the dancing even starts, we absolutely have to master the physical environment. A seamless show relies heavily on practical spatial awareness. First off, those gorgeous costumes we just built, they must be comfortable enough to allow for lifting hands and legs, jumping, and even flipping. Second, we have to meticulously plan the safe placement of our required props on stage so they're accessible but don't distract from the performance. And finally, choreographing the traffic, planning the entry and exit from the stage through two different sides is just absolutely critical to maintaining the illusion and flow of the entire show.
Part 3. The performance, the art of Natya. All right, we've built our props and mastered our stage space. Now it's time to elevate our craft. Now what's really interesting about this slide is how we are redefining what we are actually doing on stage. We all know the words dance and drama, right? Well, Natya is the powerful combination of both. It's literally a dance drama. It's this beautiful form of creative expression where participants use movement not just for the sake of rhythm, but to actively tell a compelling story. You're conveying a profound message using carefully choreographed steps, full-body movements, and intricate hand gestures known as hastamudras.
To pull off Natya successfully, there are three absolute pillars you must master. Number 1, coordination. Number 2, expression. And number 3, collaboration among your performers. Up until now, you might have practiced in small groups, right? But Natya demands that the entire class works together as one massive collective entity. Bringing a narrative to life through movement and acting in tandem requires total, unified teamwork.
But of course, the dancers are only half the equation. Live musicians, sitting together for a program, provide the true rhythm and soul of Natya. Live music and the active collaboration between the dancers and these musicians is so essential. Think about it.
The musicians watch the dancers feel the musicians, and together, they support and elevate the emotional expressions being conveyed to the audience. It's a total feedback loop.
Let's move to and see how this builds in a real-world scenario. You've got dancers performing on stage using a large, sheer net. This is a perfect example of literally everything we've talked about coming together. They're utilizing their stage space creatively, integrating a large prop fluidly into the scene, and moving entirely in tandem. You can literally see the coordination and expression working simultaneously to project a mood and a narrative directly to the audience.
And finally, Part 4, Bringing Stories to Life, from Script to Stage.
So we understand the mechanics, but what story are we actually telling? A great nacha needs a great theme. According to the text, we should search for stories related to nature, the environment, or historical events like the freedom movement, basically stories that convey a moral value to society. Consider modern relatable examples. Things like advocating against plastic use, highlighting the importance of saving water bodies, addressing the excessive use of mobile phones, promoting organic farming, or championing equality in education. Your dance can be a powerful vehicle for social messaging.
So the crucial point is how we actually build this. Here is your actionable choreography pipeline. First, you write a script document containing not just the story, but the specific hasta mudras you'll use. Second, you compile the rhythm, steps, and body movements to perfectly match that script. Third, you incorporate those props, costumes, and jewelry we designed earlier. And finally, you practice and perform. Let's break a few of these elements down just a bit more.
Let's talk about that first step, writing the script with hasta mudras. In Natya, dialogue isn't always spoken out loud with words. Instead, dialogue and really deep emotions are powerfully conveyed through these specific, highly stylized hand gestures. When you combine these hand gestures with intense facial expressions, which the chapter notes are a massive key element in Natya, you literally breathe life into the characters of your story without saying a single word. How cool is that?
Next up is compiling the rhythm. This is where we inject pure energy into the dance. You need to identify your dance with rhythmic patterns using bowls or collocatus, like that classic driving beat of ta, ka, di, mi, and pair them with musical notes or sargams that you might learn in a music class. Locking in this rhythmic heartbeat is exactly what keeps the entire ensemble moving as one single synchronized unit.
And finally, the text makes this incredibly clear, and I cannot stress it enough. Practice, practice, practice. Relentless practice is the ultimate key to a successful curtain call. But here is the absolute most important tip from our workshop. You must practice with your props and costumes beforehand. You do not want to step on stage for the very first time and realize your Hanuman mask blocks your vision or your golden necklace keeps getting tangled. Handling them comfortably in rehearsal ensures flawless execution when it actually matters.
Well, we've built the props, managed the space, chosen a meaningful story, and practiced the rhythms. We've explored explaining the chapter harmony and motion from every angle. But as the text reminds us, the true purpose of all this work goes way beyond just putting on a good show. It is now your responsibility to protect and preserve this rich cultural heritage. So I'm going to leave you with this question. How will you step into the role of the creator? How will you use rhythm, movement, and story to carry your culture forward into the future? Keep learning, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next explainer.